The short answer, yes, there's too much information. But to get to the long answer, we must figure out two things first. First, what kind of information are we actually talking about here? Is it numbers? Is it science? Well, no. When we're talking about information in this context, we're actually referring to information that we browse, that we consume, and that we surf. Do people even still say surf nowadays? On the internet. So even though we can argue that, yes, researches and papers on the internet are still information, let's be honest, 95% of the time that we use the internet, we're just browsing social media. So that's the information that we're talking about in this context. Going back to the question, is there too much information in social media? Yes, absolutely. Assuming that half the globe is connected to the internet, hundreds of millions of new information, or in this context, posts, are being uploaded on the daily basis, at least. And those hundreds of millions of posts are being scattered around hundreds of platforms, some of them being shared and some of them showing up on your feed. And that's where the reason why there's too much information is actually explained. See, apps nowadays are tailored to cater every single individual users. Companies like Facebook, Google, Amazon, those companies pour millions of money on research and development to form what's called algorithms. Those algorithms are made to feed you never-ending feed of posts just for you. And when I say never-ending, I mean never-ending. Well, you might ask, what's the big deal with having too much information? Isn't having that a good thing? Well, yes, having too much information isn't a problem. The problem is, what information are you consuming and how much are you consuming? That's the second thing that we have to figure out. We have to figure those out because remember those algorithms? Those algorithms don't just throw random stuff at you. No, it carefully creates data for you. Your search history, your like posts, your shared posts, all that is taken into account to get you to stay planted on your device even longer. And that's where the problems arise. Tons of extensive research have been conducted and done all throughout the years to figure out the effects on spending too much time on social media. And recently, there's this one that piqued my interest, but all for the wrong reason. It's an internal report from Facebook where they found out how toxic their platform is for their users, particularly the younger audience. In their internal reports, they found out that 32% of teenage girls suffer from body image issues just because of excessive browsing of their platforms, specifically Instagram. 32%, that's like 1 in 3 girls. And in teenage boys, that number is close to 14%. On their other reports, they found out that among the correspondents that say they have suicidal thoughts, 19% of it can be traced back to their platforms. And that's just one platform. That's just Facebook and Instagram. We have tons of other social media platforms. You see the problem now? It's not just those problems that arise from consuming too much information. Another problem is being desensitized to something due to oversaturation. Let me give you an example. When you browse on social media, 99% of the time, all the posts are going to be contemporary or very topical or up to date. I mean, that's just the nature of social media. And it's not uncommon to see posts that are, let's just say, unsavory or very sad, devastating. Those kinds of posts. How much of those posts must you see to get tired of them? You only can care so much, and with the internet being very, very up to date with all the news globally, it's not uncommon to become indifferent to those types of posts. It's not anybody's fault because it's someone's job to keep everyone up to date with news. The thing is, with just too much, it makes you become desensitized to things that should open up your eye. Things like events that happens, announcements, tragedies that has casualties, or disasters. You see one post and then you mourn for it. And then you see another one over here and then another one here, and then the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one, and next thing you know, you just don't care anymore. Let me correct that. It's not that I don't care, it's that I just can't anymore. There's just so much happening all at the same time, and it's just sensory overload. So that's it, huh? Just don't care anymore. Just stop caring. Well, if you're a doomer and you just accept that everything is crumbling around you, well, yeah, maybe that's an option. But if you're one of the rest of the population that actually wants to care, what can you do? We have to go back to the second thing that we have to figure out, and that is what kind of information are we consuming and how much of it are we actually consuming. Having too much information is inevitable and unavoidable. That's just the way that it is. That's how the internet works. But something that we can control is our interaction with it. I think it's a matter of filtering the noise for yourself. It's not totally blocking out the information or the negative information in your life. One thing that I'm gonna point out is that there's a clear difference between controlled obliviousness and absolute ignorance. The catch is, you have to figure that one out yourself. So yeah, there's absolutely too much information in the internet. There's no argument about that. But one thing to keep in mind is balance. And that's the key. Having a balance on how much you consume and how much you don't can and will help you have a better experience living this internet age.